Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here to do the quilting for this block 1 of our Quilt Block of the Month series. This is January 2024. I took a little break between this and what I'm about to do because I wasn't really sure what I was about to do. And I also wanted to get crochet thread, and I was having a little bit of a hard time getting that because my Walmart didn't have black crochet thread. So I'll fill you in on that as we go along. But I ended up getting some, and I think it was worth waiting for, and I'll explain that when we get to the quilting part. As a reminder, we are going to be doing one quilt block per month like this, and I've decided it's going to be 2 parts. The quilt block in part 1 and then the quilting in part 2. I want to let you know, if you want to just make the blocks every month, you are free to do whatever you want with these. You don't even have to watch part 2. If you want to just put these together, add sashing, do whatever you want. I am planning on, I'm leaning toward, I should say, ragging these big squares once they're put together. So that's why I made them big. Mine are about maybe 14, I'm going to say an average of like 14 and a quarter. So anywhere from 14 to 14 and a half inches square. Well, this one is about 14 and a half inches square, but things might vary with the other blocks. So I'm making them big, and I'm going to be leaving like maybe an inch all around to do the ragging, the snipping and stuff. So I'm planning on ragging, and I am planning on hand stitching, big stitch quilting. I like to call it long stitch quilting because I'm going long with my stitches. I have only looked at a couple of videos, not very many at all. And I, just come up with my own way of doing things. And I will show you a sample of the stitches that I made. And I think I practiced 3 times, and that was it. I was like, this is good enough. And I want the stitch on the top to be long, but on the bottom to be short. And I don't know, I just like the look of that. And I'm doing the knots my own way, and I know so many of you are going to want to tell me that I'm not doing it right, and I am not doing it the way you think is right, is about all I can say. There's no right or wrong. I'm doing what is going to work for me. I like it to be easy. I like to be able to take my thread out of the needle and put it back in quick and easy. And I would like a needle even with a bigger eye than I have, but it's big enough and it's going to work. And I want the knots to be made on the back, on the outside of the fabric. No pulling it through and making the little popping noise. I don't need to do all that. I watch a woman who does quilts in India, and she just knots her thread right on the top of the quilt. She just makes the knot and leaves it there with a little tail sticking out. It's just to use the quilt. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful. But I'm going to put my knots on the back side. And I think some of you might like this quick and easy method of doing some hand stitching. At least I hope you do. I hope I do. I hope I like it. I haven't done this before. I want to tell you that, yes, I was asked. Each block is going to be different. I'm going to be designing different size pieces for each block, but the block itself will be, 14 and a half inches. And when I give you the sizes of each piece in the video, and like I did in part 1 of this video, I'm giving you the exact sizes that you need to cut. You don't need to worry about adding a 1/2 inch for seam allowances. If I tell you to cut a piece that's 5 by 3, that means you're cutting a piece 5 by 3. I did all the math for you. And sometimes it will have whole numbers like 5 by 3. Sometimes it'll be things like 2.5 by 6 or 4 by 7.5. So whatever I tell you to cut, that's what you're going to cut. There's a playlist link in the description of this video and on the end screen that will take you to this series, and you can get started. We're still in January 2024, so you can hurry up and get caught up, do block 1, and like I said, you finish the quilt any way you want, or you can follow along and maybe do what I do. I don't know. So let's just go over to the table and get started. I am going to use Aunt Lydia's crochet thread, and it is 10 weight with thread. The bigger the number, the thinner the thread. So 10 is pretty thick, like this. And 3 is even thicker. And I did buy some 3 because I'm going to be doing some projects with that. And that's what I'm going with. You can get this just about anywhere. And I wanted black. And I wanted black because I think it might be cool to have black stitching to highlight the black border that I have around my kitty cat. Of course, you can make your own choices. I just didn't want to be buying a whole bunch of different color threads, so I thought I'll go with black, and I think I will like that. This is my very first practice piece. First time I did this in my entire life. Well, for quilting purposes. And I didn't pay attention to neatness. I just wanted to see what kind of stitch I wanted. And this is kind of what I want. A long stitch, but short in between. I just kind of like that look. Instead of doing a running stitch, you know, where you just go in and out, and the spaces are about as wide as the actual stitches, you can do that. I don't care. I don't care how you do it. Get some scrap. I do have my batting in here and the backing. So do that, practice, and you'll find what you like. This is the size 3 thread that I just talked about. And it's doable, but I liked the size 10. So this is the size 10 that I just showed you, and this is also in the center. It looks just like it, but that's actual regular sewing thread, and it's 4 strands. And I quickly knew I needed to go run out and get crochet thread because I did not want to be dealing with 4 strands. Single strand is best, at least for me. Now, I'm going to show you the back side. Again, I wasn't doing anything with any level of neatness, so you can see my little stitches. This is the better row here. This one was crooked, stuff like that. But I just wanted to see, and this is my little knot finish that I will be doing. See, that's the little knot, and the tail is between the layers, and I'm really going to like that. So that's what I decided on. These I just was leaving as is because this was just practice. And I decided on this for a backing because I have it available, and I thought my little stitches are going to just blend in, on the back side, those little stitches. And I don't care if they blend in or not. It's the back side. And my little knots will fit in there perfectly. So that's what I'm going with. Do make sure, if you want all your back pieces to be the same, get yourself 3 yards of fabric. You're going to need more than 2 to cut your squares. And so just go with 3 and you'll be safe in case you screw up or whatever. So my piece is measuring about 14.5. Some places a little bit less, but 14.5 for my big quilt block. Whatever it is, you're going to cut your batting 2 inches smaller. If yours turns out to be more like 14 because you have a more generous seam allowance, that's okay. You're just going to cut your batting 12 inches square. Mine is 14.5, so I cut my batting 12.5 inches square. Just 2 inches smaller. Now I'm going to switch to the other camera, and we're going to make our sandwich, and then I'll come back and do some hand stitching for you. As a recap, my quilt block is about 14.5 inches square. So I'm cutting my batting 2 inches smaller, 12.5 inches square. So for the top, 14.5 inches square. For the backing, and that's how it looks when you're seeing it not so close up, the backing is going to be the same size as your quilt block. So both of these are 14.5 inches square, and then 12.5 inches square for the batting. To make the sandwich, we are putting the backing right side down. The batting is going in the center, and you are allowed to just eyeball that, like that. And then you want your quilt block on the top. And now we get to ruin it with all that hand stitching. Let me switch cameras again. Actually, before we switch cameras, I want to let you know, you are more than welcome to machine stitch this. You can do the traditional big X if you want, or you could go, around in this manner. It doesn't have to, fit with the pieces you put, or you could just do some stitching in each block if you want, some lines, or, a square, rectangle, whatever. And if you do the hand stitching, you're allowed to do as much or as little as you want. Now, I'm not going to do the X with my long stitches. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different. But you don't have to fill every space. The people that I see, it's like they stitch like a half an inch apart. That's a lot of hand stitching. This is a kind of a big block, but I'm telling you, if you did an X there, your batting is going to be fine. So I'm going to not do a lot because I don't want to be taking up too much time, but I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy the process. The other thing is you can get yourself some tape that doesn't like really stick. I love electrical tape. You could put a piece of tape so that you know your line that you're stitching is straight. I might do it just to show you, but I'm not really fond of it. I kind of like just winging it. I don't mind the sloppy stitches. If you go watch other big stitch quilting videos, you're going to see that it looks very hand done. It's, it is like sloppy, and that's kind of the cool part about it. And also, if you have a fabric or fabrics that have lines built in like I have here. See, I wouldn't want to do every one of those lines. That would be too much. You let your print determine what you're doing. And, you're free to do it, of course, I say it all the time. You can do it any way you want. And you can do vertical, you can do horizontal. I'm just not going to stitch anything in the cat. That's going to stay like that. I'm going to stitch around it. And I'm not sure exactly if I want to do some horizontal and vertical. I don't know. Let me just sit down and think about it. Here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to just do vertical lines, maybe for every block. My batting, and I can feel it, is, see, I can feel the edge, is 12.5 inches square. So half of that is 6 1/4. Here's my 6 1/4. There's my pin. That's where my first line is going to be. So I'm going to be stitching like this, but when I hit the black, I'm going to stop. And then I think I'm going to do 1.5 inches spaces between the lines. So this one, I will just continue to go all the way up. And I'm just going to do that. Even if it would land like in a seam, I think I would just go with it. So 1.5 inches apart, and I'm just not going to do any stitching when I hit black. I'm just going to skip and then start again from up here. I know I'm not going to like laying tape down, but I don't know. This is a little short piece, so I will put the tape down. We'll see how it goes. You can see I put some tape down right next to that pin. Now I can take that pin out. And I just held it up and looked at it, and it looks straight to me. Now I'm going to get my thread. I can't even begin to tell you what size needle this is, or even what kind of needle it is, but the eye is big enough that I was able to pass the thread through it easily, and that's what I'm doing. And I don't know, I cut a piece maybe 2 feet long, and I am not making a knot at the end. I'm going to start not right at the edge of my batting, but a little bit in. Just want to make sure that when I'm ragging it, that I'm not going to be accidentally cutting any part of the thread that I'm using for quilting. So I'm going to come in from the back, and I'm going to try to come up right next to that, the tape. I know I'm not going to like the taping method. I think I will be eyeballing this whole thing. And now I'm going to pull that through, and I'm going to leave a nice little tail here because I don't know how long I want it, but I'm going to leave it probably like 3 or 4 inches. Can you even see that? See? That? There we go. And now I'm going to just eyeball that stitch, and I'm just going to go through and go down and come out. So I guess the tape, you know, that does seem to help keep it a little bit even. Oh my goodness, I've got such a mess here on my table. Now I'm going to come back up. I'm not going to be doing it like this when I'm doing it not on camera. I'm just going to come up, I don't know if that's even 1/4 of an inch. Maybe, maybe not. Like that. And then I'm going back down. Yeah, this needle is a little bit bigger than I would like. And back up I go. I promise you I will not be holding it like this when I'm doing it for real. You'll find your groove. And maybe like that. And yes, you can get, you know, thimbles or whatever you need for your fingers. I'd rather just suffer injuries. And let's see, maybe one more will fit in there. Going up next to the tape. I don't know, I think the tape is actually helpful. And now I'm going to go right down right there. Now at this point I could stop underneath, cut my knot, cut the thread and make a knot, or I can travel over. I think I'm going to travel over. I don't know. Let's stop and cut so I can show you the knot. And let's get rid of this. Okay, it looks like it's, you know, short, but this is going to be, you know, sewn together at some point. And we're going to take care of the knot for this, and let's do the knot here. So let me turn it over. Where are we? Oh, I'm so glad we stopped in a light point to be able to see. So let me see if I can remember how I did this. I'm going to make a knot, but I learned a little trick. So I'm just going to wrap it around my finger. I'm going to put the needle through there. So we're just passing the thread through that loop. But then what you do is you put your needle in that loop right there and hold it to your fabric. Then when you pull, the knot is going to go right to the bottom there. See that nice little knot? Doesn't have to be right flat against the fabric. And I like to do a double knot because I'm a double knot kind of girl. So again, I'm just going to put my thread through. I could actually have another needle if I wanted to. Let's see. Let me just put another needle there so I don't have to hold that one and pull. Looky, that nice little chunky knot. I'm very happy with that. I'm just going to go under, and of course you can pin these pieces together, but see, I don't really want to because right now I want to send my hand under there. And I want to make sure that I'm just going between the layers, and I'm just going to like come up over here somewhere, like this. If I can catch my needle, that is. Now see, some people like to pull the knot through. I'm not struggling like that. I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'm going to trim close to the fabric, and that is gone. I like that method very much. Now let's go to the one that I had before. Again, I'm just going to like make a knot, loop it over, pass that through. Let's take a needle, hold it there. Ah, love that. Again. Oh my God, I can't do anything with this camera in front of me. I'm using that as an excuse. And a nice chunky knot there. That isn't going anywhere. Oh yes, now I want to weave that through. You don't really have to if you don't want to. You could just trim and leave a little tail there, but let's weave it in. And again, just going to go through the middle and then not in the front, and just come up, and we'll tuck that in like that. And we did a line. Oh my goodness, my first Oh, it definitely comes out straighter if I use the tape. Now what I would want to do to lay down the other tape is I want 1.5 inches. So I'm going to put my 1.5 inches here, and the edge of my tape would go right here. And then that one would go all the way up, all the way to the tippity top, because I'm not hitting the black. For this one, it's going to continue up here. So let me take a little break so I can recover from what I just went through. And I'll be right back. Here's what I did. I put my tape back, but I put a long piece this time. These are the stitches I just did. I'm going to skip here, but I want to continue here. So I thought I'm going to lay the tape across the whole thing, and I'm going to do the stitches right here. That was so much easier without a camera in front of me. And again, you know, my batting is right there, so that's good. I'm bringing it right up almost to the end of the batting. So look, this is how I'm going to lay my tape down. See, I'm learning as I go. I have this on the 8 line. I'm actually going to put it on a half line, so an 8.5, because I want my rows of stitching 1.5 inches apart. So I'm going to put this kind of like there, like 8.5. Now this will be laid down. I'm going to use the same piece of electrical tape. It's going to be laid down on the 10. And look at how easy that's going to be for me to do. Look at that. 1.5 inches from this stitch line. So that was 8.5 here, 9.5, 10. Cool. Now I'm going to go stitch all the way on the inside of this line. I imagine if you're left-handed that you'd want to stitch on the other side. I don't know, because I've never been left-handed. But now I'm going to go do my first whole entire row all the way from bottom to top. I also want to point out, you can make sure your thread is long enough with 2 nice tails. This is the piece I had left over, and it's perfect. And I will thread up, and I will show you again how to start and how to stop. Even with the tape, this did not come out straight. I got some real wonky sections there, but I don't care. Okay, let's go back to where I started. Where is my needle? It just flew somewhere. Hang on. I found it. Okay, I'm going to go to my knots in the back. This is, I think, where I started, and I have one on this side too. Wherever it is, very hard to see. See, you can hardly see the little stitches. Okay, I'm just going to, turn and stick the end through. It's very hard to do on camera. Okay, and then I'm going to put my needle in that hole, and I'm going to stick the needle down below, and then I'm just going to pull. And then again, because I'm a 2-knot kind of girl, I'm going to do it again. And it doesn't seem to matter how high up that loop is that you made. Just stick your needle in it, and then stick your needle down by the hole where the knot is, and pull. What a nice knot. Let me do the other one, and then I'll pull the tails through. It is easier if your tail is kind of long. I just think it's cool. I know I saw this a long time ago, but then I saw it again lately. There's one knot. Oops. Doesn't matter how you do this part, as long as you do it. And down there. And good. Nice knot. Now I'm just going to do like I did before. I'm just going to put the thread through the needle, and I'll go between the layers. Just come out somewhere here. And then when you trim this, you can, tug on it a little bit, and then when you snip close to the fabric, it's gonna pop inside the fabric. Make sure I didn't go on the other side. I did not. And let's finish this one off too. Yeah, definitely I would like my thread a little bit longer. Where is the knot? I can't even see. It's right there. We've got this. Make sure I'm not going through the other side. I definitely want to make sure that the ends are longer. I am going to go ahead now and do my other lines all off camera. And remember, when I come here, I'm going to put the tape all the way, but then I will stop stitching here, and then I will start back up here. And then I will show you when I'm done. I'm impressed with how this turned out. It's far from perfect, but I like it. I liked the process. I will have no trouble doing this once a month for a block. Would I want to do an entire quilt like this? Well, I mean, if I had nothing else to do, then I wouldn't mind doing it. I find the process is very relaxing to me. It's as relaxing as like when I sit and make paper beads. That's how much I enjoyed it. Again, my lines are not straight, and I just decided to not care about that at all. And I noticed here that I have one little spot where I was supposed to make a big stitch, and I made a little tiny stitch on this side, and I'm just leaving it like that. I do want to mention, and then I'll show you up close, nothing shows on the back of this due to the print, but boy, you can feel the knots. Now, that wouldn't bother me because I would never sleep with a quilt on my body. I would have this like on top of another blanket. I don't know. I don't even like quilts. I don't. I like blankets. But it might bother some, and I'm too exhausted to even show you right now. But if you prefer, and there are many other videos on how to like bury a knot, is that what we call it? You make your knot, and then you pull your thread through between the layers, just like I did, but then you pull, you tug, and the little knot goes under the fabric. But you would want to make only one knot if you were doing that, because I make two knots, a double knot, I should say, you know, and it's kind of big. But that's the way I'm going to continue doing it, because that's the way I like doing it. I'm going to take the camera and show you up close. I'm not trimming anything or doing anything like that. It's getting a little thready. I was moving it around. You can see here the backing is a little bit longer. I'm not trimming that. If it's going to be ragged, you don't have to trim. You're just going to snip and it'll all work out. So I'm very curious, and I think I'm going to have to do a little scrap piece, or maybe I could just even throw this in the wash. I have different types of threads there, but I'm just curious to see, you know, this thread is 100% cotton, which is what I wanted. I like it to shrink and to be puffy, you know? So I don't want to wash these, though, because they're going to be ragged, and I'm not washing all the squares beforehand. So I'm going to test this. The next time I do a load of laundry, I'm just going to wash this and dry this and see what happens, and then I'll let you know. Other than that, I'm really satisfied. So let me do some close-ups for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, because we have 11 more of these to make throughout the year. And don't forget, I will be doing a crocheted block of the month too, and that will be coming out in the middle of each month. This will be at the beginning of each month. And, you know, of course I'm going to have other things too, but I want to at least do those two blocks, and I am going to still be trying to do a Christmas one. I just need to order Christmas prints, because I know a lot of you don't have that, and I would like to have some fabric available for anyone who would want to buy that. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I think I already said that. I will be back with more soon. Bye!